Hey, how's it going, guys? Ancient Rune here, back with another Borderlands 4 video, and today I'll be going over my green tree leveling build. This is meant for people that just really want to mess with Crucible, the green tree action skill, and all of its augments and capstones. This is not meant as the best leveling build ever. It's just like the best way to do just a full green tree one, and there's a lot of flexibility in here as well. I want to put a disclaimer: this is all theoretical, so this stuff could easily change, and once Borderlands 4 is released, I'll probably remake all these builds that I'm doing and just post them again. So I would just really keep that in mind here. I have not played the game, but I can't wait to. And if you would like to see leveling builds focused on the other trees, I would especially recommend Blue Tree, because I think that's going to be my go-to and the strongest leveling build. Then make sure to subscribe and have the notification bell on to see when those come out, or they will be linked in the description when they come out. Now let's get into it. So Crucible, you will have as a charge skill, Radi's Forge Axes that can be thrown and picked up off the ground to restore cooldown. You can throw a Flame Axe, dealing incendiary melee damage, or Frost Axe, dealing cryo melee damage. Enemies damaged by Forge Axes are primed for duration and will detonate when they die or are damaged by a Forge skill, dealing damage to nearby enemies. And then for our Forge skill here, we have Doubled Edge, where you will throw a twin Forge Axe, dealing cryo melee damage to enemies it passes through, and then returning to Amon, it will deal incendiary melee damage on the way back. So this build will probably be a little bit more melee focused just because of how the drones are in their melee damage, and we do focus a little bit into drones. Now that doesn't mean you have to go all in on drones, but you still at least want one point in all these, and I'll be going over that little bit in a video, but just know this is not a companion pet drone build kind of thing. It is all just using any gun, any ordnance, any action skill in Green Tree. That's what this is here for. So first off, we have Executioner, gain increased crit damage. The effect is doubled for duration after dealing melee damage. I would go this first. Our guns will be dealing crit damage, and we'll be using really a lot of guns early game, so this will help a lot. All right, and then after these, we have two options. We can start going the Gathering Storm, or we can go in Tempered Pyre. I'd probably go at least 1 point in Tempered Pyre, and this is a Forge Drone skill, which is whenever Amon activates his Forge skill, he spawns an Axe Forge Drone that attacks nearby enemies for duration, dealing incendiary melee damage. Activating a Forge skill while Tempered Pyre's active fully restores the duration of all active Forge drones. So even just having this out a little bit could be a nice extra damage. We don't really know if these will be dealing good damage until we reach the game and play it. It may not be good early game, it may not be good end game, or it could just be good at end game with a lot of investment. So that'll be your choice. I will probably first go Gathering Storm, which is a kill skill which deals increased elemental damage per duration, and this can stack, as this will be affecting my guns, my ordnance, my action skill, just a really good damage boost. And then after that, I will be maxing out Tempered Pyre, as well as getting a point in Twin Tempers. This will now spawn an additional Axe Forge Drone that deals cryo melee damage, and then the Forge Drone from Tempered Pyre have reduced duration. So now we have fire and cryo going. It just has the reduced duration going on. Now after that, we are at the different branches. Now what you want to do will just depend on what you want and what your action skills go. I think I'll probably go middle tree first, even though I really want these hammer stuff. I can still get this hammer augments, not this capstone, just for hone point, but I'll be going over that later. I'll just be going left to right for now. First, we have Tempered Ice, where whenever Amon activates his ordnance, he spawns a hammer forge drone that attacks nearby enemies for duration, dealing cryo melee damage. So we go 5 points to that to boost its damage. Then we just go 1 point in Masterwork to get down to this one here. But first we'll go over Endless Bombardment. Grenades have a chance to refund themselves on use, and then Heavy Ordnance has a chance to refund 1 ammo on damaging enemies. Now this is very flexible. You can put this in Cacophony, which gains increased ordnance damage and detonation radius, or you can go in Stoked, where whenever Amon deals ordnance damage, he gains increased fire rate for duration. It really doesn't matter. I just think Endless Bombardment looks really cool, so I want to mess with that. And then we'll be going a point into Ordained Hammer. The Hammer Forge drones now deal ordnance damage in addition to their other types and gain a chance to cause a detonation on damaging enemies, dealing cryo damage in an area. Now, this will only apply to the Tempered Ice drone, but that is still good because this just makes it deal even more damage. Now you could also go Endless Bombardment into Masterwork. I forgot to mention that. It's just I don't want to go completely into the drones as I still want us to be using everything as that's the type of build this is. Now to the middle tree first we have Tempered Lightning. When you activate your action skill, Amon spawns a Sword Forge drone that attacks nearby enemies for duration, dealing shock melee damage. Activating action skill while Tempered Lightning is active will partially restore the duration of all active Forge drones. So that means this, and these two will all have partially restored Forge drone duration, which is really nice. Then we'll want to look at Blast Furnace. Whenever Amon or his Forge drones critically hit an enemy, they cause a detonation, and he gains increased damage dealt for duration, and detonations grant multiple stacks. So this is just a good damage boost, which will buff everything we're doing, and that's why we go this here. Then we have just 1 point escalation. This is just to get down the tree as we need the attached skills here, where we have Hone Point. Forge drones have a chance to critically hit. Whenever a Forge drone critically hits, they partially restore Amon's action skill cooldown. So this will be really nice for getting our action skill back so we can spam it a lot more. This does not do anything for our Forge skill, just our action skill. Now, there is stuff like Lightning Rod, where gunshots have a chance on crit hit to spawn an elemental bolt dealing shock damage, but it has an 8-second cooldown as of now, and that's a really long time, so I don't think it's going to really be worth it over getting Blast Furnace. Then for the right tree here, first we have Permafrost. Whenever Amon freezes an enemy, Cryo Hazard is created under them, dealing cryo damage for duration. Now, this will just depend on if you can freeze an enemy. If not, then you'll just go Raging Inferno first. I think I'll probably always go Raging Inferno because action skill damage has a chance to crit and burn enemies when it does. Even if the burn doesn't deal good damage, the chance to crit with our action skill will be very helpful for us. So if we're not going Permafrost, we have a couple options. I would think maybe probably Reactive Armor, as detonations will partially restore Amon's shield and ordnance cooldown. So if you want to use your ordnance more, this will be really good. We have Freezer Burn, which will just boost our damage a lot. We're dealing incendiary damage with guns, increases our cryo damage, and then dealing cryo damage with guns increases our incendiary damage. So this will just be helpful for boosting our damage skills or even just our own guns, like shoot with a incendiary gun and then swap to something with cryo, and then you will be dealing increased cryo damage with a gun. You also have Wild Heart, which increases our status damage and hazard damage. That's only like good if this burn or this puddle is good. And then I just go 1 point in Reverse Explosion because it's there. Whenever Amon deals Forge skill damage, he grants a drone singularity for duration. So the singularity just could be good, it could not be good. We'll just have to see. Now, if the drones end up not doing good damage in playthroughs, you would want to take out some points. You'd still want to have 1 point in each, as we are still getting stuff for Honed Point, as we want to cycle our action skill fast. But we could take 4 points out of here, and we have stuff like Cast Iron, which will gain us increased Forge skill cooldown rate, which could be really good if you want to spam your Forge skill more. Or we have Destructed Engine, where you gain increased Forge skill damage and detonation damage. Even if you don't use your Forge skill much, that detonation damage will help as we're detonating stuff a lot. You have Bellows, where activating his Forge skill grants increased gun damage, but if we can't get our Forge skill spammed enough, I don't think this will be really good. Maybe you have Conflangarang. It could be good because Conflangarang will restore Forge skill cooldown, but I'm not sure. We also have Bolt Action, which is a gun bonus element, which could be good. It's after reloading, so if you're using something like a Jacob shotgun, this could be really helpful here. Otherwise, maybe not. There's a lot of flexibility and good skills here. I wouldn't go Vital Organs because you don't really need gun crit chance. You can just hit the crit spot for most enemies. Of course, there's going to be some enemies where it's good to have this crit chance, but really, I think you won't really need it too much. And then for the 4 points out of Tempered Ice, you can go Cacophony, or you can go Stoked, or more an Endless Bombardment. You wouldn't really need Ordained Hammer, so you could take point out of Masterwork and Ordained Hammer. The only thing I could see this being nice with is if you go Stoked with these extra points, or just from Endless Bombardment, as then you have this dealing ordnance damage to then proc this fire rate, so that's a fun synergy to keep an eye out for. Then with the 4 points in Tempered Lightning, you'd probably want to max out Blast Furnace. And then you could mess with Lightning Rod, or you could just go Armor Contempt, gain Overshoot when he deals action skill damage, which is just good for survivability. And then you'd still go the Escalation just to get down to Honed Point. And then for the augments, you really just go whatever you want. I'm going to go Hour of Hammer to give me that Clawbringer vibe. But I may mess with Forged Swords and maybe Searing Cold for freezing, as that could be good with Permafrost. We'll have to see how it goes. I think this has good AoE damage since it says it does an area of impact. So we'll just have to see with that. But I really want Snowmaul because it has a ricochet effect, which sounds really fun. But I think the best thing may be Conflangarang, as this will give forward skill cooldown, and that'll be good for spamming your forward skill, but it all just depends on what you want to do. That's basically it for the video. If you want to see a write-up that goes more in depth into this, I will have the Mobalytics link in the description down below. And if you have enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.